What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Queen Sugar. We are on season 6, episode 3. So listen, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all what y'all better not do no more. Y'all got in them comments last week and y'all scared the you know what out of me because the end of this episode I was talking about Mr. Prosper and him and that moment that he's shared with Ralph Angel, and y'all got down in them comments and y'all started talking about I don't think that was real. I think that was a dream. I think Ralph Angel dreamt that. I think Mr. Prosper might have passed. Let me tell y'all what y'all better not do. Don't do that no more. Don't scare me about Mr. Prosper. Y'all know how I feel about Mr. Prosper. But y'all did start having me thinking the same thing. I was like, ooh, what if that was a dream? But thank God it was not. Mr. Prosper is here. He is home. He is out of the hospital. And this episode starts off with a welcome home for Mr. Prosper. We see the gang is all there, including Billy. She is still in town, and she feels some kind of way. She said, you know, he just lights up when he see the borderlawns, honey. He love the borderlawns, the borderlawns, the borderlawns. And, daggone it. Anyway, the daughter told her, listen, not the daughter, but, shit. Charlie, gosh, I couldn't get it out. Charlie said, listen, when you're not here, all he talks about is Billy. So there's love on both sides, and there's enough love to go around, you know. So they all visit with him, but they don't wear him out, you know. They stay a little bit, and then they go on about their little merry little way. We're gonna get that story, honey. We'll get there later. Now, ain't Vi down to the diner? They getting ready for the real spot. Time to open, you know. And Hollywood is there getting some stuff from the diner. And Hollywood sees this big old, this big old box full of food. He said, is that the food for the grand opening? She said no. She said this is for a customer. You go ahead and, you know, go get some stuff out of the storage closet for me, and don't worry about what this is and who this is for. You going about your business. Now listen, Hollywood know his woman, and Hollywood knows something ain't right. He knows something up. He done let a few things slide, but Hollywood ain't stupid. So he goes in the back, but as he's coming forward, he sees Vi in the cash register taking money out and sticking it in the box that she, you know, he just told her don't worry about. So he when she's getting ready to leave out the diner, he asked her, he said, what's going on, Vi? Because she sees him, she putting the stuff in the truck, she thinking she done got away with it or whatever, and come to find out he saw everything. He said, what's going on, Vi? You gonna tell me what's up? So she ends up having to take him down to the motel and introducing him to Gabrielle and his mama. And of course, you know, he plays nice and he plays with the little boy and his face just lights up. And we see Aunt Vi and the mama have a conversation. She says, listen, this is my husband. He ain't here to hurt you. And, you know, she trusts Vi. So she goes ahead and she, you know, acquiesces and lets Hollywood come in and everything. And then the two of them end up having a one-on-one conversation, and we get a little bit more of her story. And what we found out about her story is, you know, that her husband, she said, you know, he always put his hands on me. But, you know, once COVID came around and we were stuck in that house together, both of us got laid off. Gabrielle was home from school. She said, of course, he was still taking his frustrations out on me. But then when he started taking his frustrations out on the kids, on my son, I couldn't do it. And that's when I had to leave. And Vi said, but you made the right decision. You not only did you leave, but you made sure that you came somewhere where he didn't know you and you found some people to help you, right? So again, still not really clear on how Vi know this woman. I mean, did she just come into the diner one day? Did I miss it? Y'all tell me in the comments. I mean, did she just come into the diner one day and Aunt Vi just recognized that look in her eyes and knew who she was? I mean, you know, knew what her story was and helped her out? Like, how did Vi become the Underground Railroad for battered women? Like, where'd she come from? Of course, I'll get to that later, child. We'll get to that later. So, We got the meeting with the black farmers. We found out that Ralph Angel's crop did not come in the way he wanted it to come in, so he ain't pulling in the money he anticipated pulling in. I told y'all that last week. He's spending money before he get it. That is a dangerous game that I think most of us have played at some point in our life. But Ralph Angel, you playing it with a lot of money. You taking them payday loans and all kinds of stuff. So they're on their way to their meeting with the mediation meeting for the black farmers. They get there. Charlie's there, Ralph Angel's there, Nova's there, and Billy is there. Now, Billy is a paralegal up in Chicago, and she said, listen, I have dealt with red line cases, so I'm very familiar with this, and I'm just here as for my dad. I'm here so we can try to get this situation resolved as fast as possible and get these farmers their money. And, of course, at this point, Ralph Angel is a little desperate now because he has really put himself in a bad spot as far as the money is concerned. So they go to get ready to go into the place, and the sheriff is standing there, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, "Oh, well, some concerned citizens called." About what? They were worried that there might be a disturbance or something. So the sheriff is there, and there's some other white farmers there, and they're talking to the representatives from the government, and basically the government is stonewalling them. And this is what I was saying last week. Anytime there's any type of lawsuit dealing with something like this, that's not something that is settled overnight. And I understand there's a sense of urgency because the farmers are drowning and the farmers are hurting, but the government don't care. Like, if y'all do get money, it is going to be a long process. I don't know what made Ralph Angel ever think that it was going to be a short process. I don't know what made him think they was going to put in a claim and the government was going to say, oh, we've been doing y'all wrong for a long time. Here's some money. Child, please. So, of course, the black farmers are frustrated and they're like, when we going to get our money? Like, we submitted our paperwork. I'm struggling. I need the money. Y'all are part of the reason why I'm in this position because y'all didn't offer the same loans that y'all offered the white farmers, and y'all didn't give us the same opportunities that y'all gave the white farmers. So at this point, I need my money, and I need my money yesterday. What's going on with our money? So then, the white farmers were like, this sound like, I mean, we want some special treatment too. Like, we want money too. This sound like reparations. And then Nova was like, child, bye. This ain't even close to the reparations y'all owe us. And it became a whole argument back and forth. The government finally said, listen, this process is taking longer than we anticipated because the more claims we get, the more research we have to do, the longer it's going to take. He said, as of right now, we have y'all's paperwork. We'll let y'all know something in about 6 months. And everybody was like, whoa, wait, 6 months? What the hell? We thought we would have a chat and we'll be on our merry little way in 6 months. Now, Mr. Prosper's daughter, Billy, said, listen, the legal case of XYZ versus XYZ already established that there is discriminatory practices. Y'all playing games. And if y'all not getting ready to make a good faith effort to try to settle this situation as soon as possible, then we're just going to have to go to the court and get a legal remedy, okay? Now, I don't know if that's a whole lot of grandstanding, but it was what it was. Now, before they went in there and Billy showed up, Nova told Charlie, listen, she talk a good game, but don't be trusting her. But I think Charlie and Ralph Angel was impressed with her with what she said, and that she kind of knew her shit a little bit. It didn't change. I mean, it didn't stop the government from saying we'll see y'all in 6 months, right? Now, we see Micah. Micah seems to be struggling with a little bit of PTSD. Now, I know that the situation that had happened with Micah and the police happened a few years ago, but I feel like the situation with Mr. Prosper sort of triggered something with him. And we see him walking down the street, and I couldn't tell if he was drinking beer and he was drunk. He was drinking out of something, and I feel like it was beer, because he looked like he might have been a little bit off. Right, he felt it was a little something, and then later on in the episode there was another reference. They were down, and he was trying to get some liquor, so I feel like they're trying to show us that Micah is really struggling. Again, he had well, I'll go ahead and knock that out, child. Later on in the episode, we see him back on campus, and he had a full-on panic attack when a security officer, not even a real police officer, a security guard at the college, no disrespect to security guards, but ran past him, must have been on some sort of an emergency call, and Micah really had a full-on panic attack. Like, a full-on panic attack. But he said it had never happened before. So I feel like a lot of this is bubbling back up as a result of what happened with Mr. Prosper. So I feel like that's going to be something ongoing with Michael for a minute. I don't feel like they're going to resolve that immediately because he's not telling anybody what's going on. He's not talking to anybody. But on that phone call, we see when he was walking down the street drinking that burr, we see that his mama called him. Charlie called, and to remind him, like, don't forget that we got dinner tonight with your daddy over to Aunt Vi's house. And he was like, that's a sentence I never thought I would hear again. And she was like, yeah, well, talk to me. How you feel about it? And Davis is actually there, and he overhears the conversation. She got him on speakerphone, and we find out that Michael was like, listen, at the end of the day, I just want you happy. If you feel like this is going to make you happy, that's cool. But he hurt you bad. And honestly, if that happens again, I don't know if either one of us will be able to survive it. So, walk lightly. Now, he don't know his daddy is there, and he don't know his daddy hear it. But you can see it all over his daddy's face, like, damn, like, this is deep. You know what I mean? Like, this really is deep. And we see him and, him and Charlie talking. Charlie said, listen, I know that you've changed. I know that, we are better than ever, and it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to face the family tonight. That's going to be the hardest part. We don't have to hide anymore. And people are just going to have to be happy for our happiness. That's just it. That's all, We see Nova coming out her house. There's a little package left on her doorstep. We see her neighbor. They do a little flirty flirt. She invites him to go down to the real spot, hang out with the fellas, and find out what's going on down there. And when she opens up the envelope, there's a picture of her with like a bullseye over her face. So she is getting threats, honey. She is still getting threats, and it is not cute. Don't know where they're coming from, and I feel like it's probably closer than we think, but that's my suspicion. I ain't gonna say nothing. That's just kind of how I feel about it. So we're at dinner at Aunt Vi's. Now, Aunt Vi and Ralph Angel can be in the same room together, but it's still tension. They still ain't on the same page, okay? They still are not on the same page. But everybody is excited about Davis coming through, except for Aunt Vi. I think Nova is probably cautiously apprehensive. And Darla was like, listen, I was getting high back then. I don't remember none of that. I mean, he got a clean slate with me, So Davis comes through the door with Micah. And the first thing he does is apologize to the family. He said, listen, y'all, when me and Charlie, when y'all first met me, y'all welcomed me into this family with open arms. Y'all never treated me anything less than, a member of this family. And when I heard Charlie, I heard y'all. And this is a well overdue apology. And Hollywood, he cool. Ralph Angel forgave him. Everybody, Aunt Vi still giving him a side eye. But that's what she gonna do anyway. And but everybody, I think, is open to the idea of if Charlie is happy, listen, if you like it, I love it kind of thing, right? We find out that Davis is up for a coaching position, and, hopefully he'll get the position, Hollywood gives us a good old-fashioned church. You got to go to the microwave and warm your food up by the time you get done with it, type of prayer. Y'all ever had them kind of prayers? Usually, my family is usually the Thanksgiving dinner prayer. By the time they get done saying the prayer, you really need to go back to the microwave because your food cold again. They done thanked all the ancestors. They done thanked the people that came before us, the people that came before us. They done thanked the turkey. They done thanked the turkey's parents. They done thanked the pig for making the ham. They done thanked the hands that prepared it. They done blessed the hands that prepared it. Like, if y'all ever had one of them prayers, that was the prayer that Hollywood put down. Okay? That was the prayer that Hollywood had put down. But after that, we broke bread, and it looked like dinner went really well, right? It's always hard when you have a relationship that falls apart, and especially in their case, it was so public and it was so vile the way the whole thing went down. It is sort of hard to come back from. It's sort of hard to come back from. So, you know, black love, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? Later on in the episode, we see Charlie and Davis talking, and they're talking about, like, they're getting ready to announce to the world that they're together. They're getting ready to post, you know, like everybody does now. They're gonna post it down to the Instagram. And he says, listen, you know, well, actually, before I get there, I'm gonna talk about the double conversation before I get there. Okay, I'm out of sequence. Okay. So, we get down to the opening of the real spot, right? And Ava and Hollywood seem to be on a good page. You know, she brought the food down. He's smiling. They kissing. You know, but it's still some tension there. He's still feeling some kind of way about, you know, how things have went down. And they sort of get into a little bit of a spat, you know. And he said, basically, he's telling her, listen, you always find the time to save the world, you know, when you need to really take care of yourself. And she said, listen, me and you ain't no different. You sitting down here, you open up this restaurant. I mean, you opened up the real spot to save the world. When for real, it's your way. Oh, no, that ain't when they had the argument. But hell, they had the argument. She said, well, you doing the same thing I'm doing. Instead of focusing on yourself, right? And I feel like she's alluding to his mother's passing and him grieving that. But at the opening of the real spot, we also meet this new character that was in jail with Ralph Angel, right? And, you know, basically everybody's attitude is, listen, if you cool with Ralph Angel, you cool with us. We know Ralph Angel's past, and he sort of rehabilitated and made us a believer, so we willing to give you a chance too. But at the end of the night, he offers Ralph Angel an opportunity to make a little bit of money, robbing Landry Industries. Now, I'm glad that Ralph Angel ain't jump at it, but I thought it was interesting. He heard Landry. I thought he might jump at the chance to, you know, get a little something from Landry, but he didn't. But the guy slid him a few dollars. You know how they do, give you a little taste. Like, here go $100, you know, give you a little taste of what you could really get. Mr. Prosper, you know, he makes a FaceTime call, but at the end of the day, he can't be there. You know, he just got out the hospital, all that good stuff, child. He can't be there, but he did FaceTime. And then Hollywood proceeds to try to get the guys to talk, get them to open up. And, you know, he even tries to bribe them with a little bit of yak. He said, you know, ain't no yak until you get the yak in. That's when, you know, Micah was like, well, I'll talk if I can get some yak. And Hollywood wouldn't give him any, so I'm assuming that they're insinuating that Micah ain't 21 yet, but I guess he's not. He's a sophomore in college at this point. Was he still a freshman, child? I don't know. But I guess he's not 21 yet, so no, you can't have no yak, even though clearly you've had yak. But they eventually, you know, it was hard to sort of get them talking, but they eventually do get them to start opening up and get them to start talking. You know, he tells a story of, you know, going through his mom's things and memories of his mom, and a moment where he remember going to a store. His mother loved to wear hats, and they went to a store, and the white saleswoman wouldn't even wait on him. So I think that opened the floor and got people sort of talking. Now, while they're doing that down to the real spot, the ladies are getting together. We've got, you know, Aunt Vi, Darla, Charlie, and Nova. And that, they asked, you know, talking about Davis and asking basically like, listen, like, we just want you to be happy, but what's the rest of the world gonna think? You know, y'all situation was very public, and again, it was very vile. You had the whole rape allegation, you covering it up. Like, it was a lot of dirt with y'all situation. And they said, what about your political friends? Like, how you think they're gonna feel about it? And she said, that's our business. Like, my private life is nobody else's business. And I'm like, Charlie, you are not that naive. You know that your private life is everybody's business when it comes to that. Like, you're not that naive, girl. You know better. And basically, Ava tells her as much and reminds her of as much. And so what she ends up saying is, that she's not gonna give up anything anymore. She's gonna go for what she wants. She's gonna live her best life. She's not gonna make no apologies, you know. Darla is talking about she's happy and she wants to be happy, but she just can't shake the feeling that something bad is coming. And Ava tries to tell her, girl, you can't live like that. You can't live waiting, thinking, hoping, praying. You gotta stay positive. Then we get over to Nova. And Nova starts talking about her past with Billy. And she said, listen, Billy hurt me and she hurt me bad. And what I learned is when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And Aunt Vi said, yeah, Billy, Nova said, what Billy did changed my life forever. Like, she hurt me deep. And what Aunt Vi said was, yeah, she hit, she hurt me too. And come to find out, there was rumors going around that she had slept with Jimmy Dale. Now, Aunt Vi said, listen, the man cheated on me all around town. So him cheating on me wasn't nothing new. But she was like family. And so for him to cheat on me with her, that hurt me. She said that cut me deep. She was like a daughter to me, And so we'll put a pin in that. We see Ralph Angel and Darla meeting with the doula and realizing that not only do they need a doula, but they also need a midwife. And how expensive that's going to be. And Darla, once again, is trying to tell, Ralph Angel, listen, we could just go down to the hospital. Like, we don't have to, we can just go down to the hospital. And he was like, no, we ain't going to do that. You want to have the baby here? We're going to have the baby here. Like, I'm going to make it happen. And again, I just feel like Ralph Angel, you're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. Down to the diner, we see Ralph Angel playing with Gabrielle a little bit, and again, we see that look in Aunt Vi's eyes. We see that look in her eyes that says, I see him, I see how good he is with kids, and I ain't gonna never be able to give him kids. They had that whole conversation before when it was time, when he was trying to marry her. And remember, his mama told him, there's gonna come a time you're gonna resent it. And it doesn't look like it's on his part, but it does look like that it is very much on Aunt Vi's mind. Very conscious of it. So Nova goes down to Mr. Prosper's to take him some food. Prosper is asleep, but Billy is there. And Nova drops off the food and she's going to walk away. And Billy was like, this is really silly that we can't talk to each other. She said, basically, let's address the elephant in the room. And Nova was like, girl, you hurt me. Is this what you sure you really want to do? And she said, let's do it. She said, you changed my relationship with my father forever. You had my father thinking of me as a vile person. And come to find out, Billy had outed Nova to her dad. Billy had told the dad that Nova was gay and that he needed to talk to her and get her saved. Billy said, okay, you know what? All right, maybe that was wrong. But I was hurting too. She said, when I needed you the most, you weren't there for me. You were my best friend and you abandoned me when I needed you the most. Nova was like, girl, what you talking about? She said, Jimmy Dale. She said, oh, so the rumors were true. She said, see, that's what I'm talking about. She said, you, your Aunt Vi, and everybody else around town, nobody stopped to think about the fact that this grown ass, she said that man was over 33 years old. I was an 18-year-old high school senior. And nobody thought twice about the fact that this man is telling anybody who will listen how good I was in bed. Nobody would listen to me. Nobody believed me. Even my own father turned his back on me and believed the worst in me. She said, but nobody questioned the fact that grown-ass man and an 18-year-old. She said, I didn't choose to sleep with him. She said, I came over here. She said, as soon as we graduated from high school, I was leaving town. But I came by here to talk to you one last time. You weren't home. Your dad was here. And I told your dad what happened to me. And I think he even believed me a little bit. But he showed me compassion. He showed me something that nobody else in this town has showed me. So, yeah, I told him. And I think the realization hit Nova in that moment, because you saw it, all of the emotion on her face. And Billy ended up walking away from her and kind of leaving her standing there in her revelation, right? So then we had Charlie and Davis, and again, like I said earlier, they're getting ready to announce it, share for the world. And he asked her, he said, listen, what about the politics? She said, remember, we control the narrative. And I saw Charlie put on her PR hat again. Remember, that's the Charlie we met at the beginning. If you go back to season 1, Charlie was like an Olivia Pope kind of thing. She was the fixer. She created the narrative. She controlled the spin. And she's telling him, listen, that is what we do. We control the spin. We control the narrative. Like, that is what we do. And she said, we will be in charge of this. She said, we're going to be the redemption story. Everybody likes to see we were the power couple that fell from grace, and now we found ourselves again. She said everybody's going to be happy for us. And so he asked her, would she ever think about moving back to California? And she said, listen, this is my home now. Like, St. Joe's is my life now. She said, but long weekends in LA with you, that's great. I look forward to it. So they took a picture and both of them posted it on Instagram and put the caption "Black Love" with a heart emoji or some shit like that. So that's how the episode ends, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.